Yep. Hi, everyone, and we're live. Welcome to the next PARSIQ Live AMA. Last week, 2 weeks ago, we had the PARSIQ COO Ronkai here, and this week we have Simon, PARSIQ's Business Development Officer. Hi, Simon.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Tom. How's everyone doing today?
So before we get to the questions, I just wanted to take a minute to say thank you to the community for their social engagement, all the metrics according to Lunar Crush, according to CrowdSense, according to Cointelegraph's Vortex metrics. I mean, they were all really impressive. The growth was impressive. So yeah, thank you, everyone. Please keep it up. We also updated our subreddit as per the community suggestions. So we are 100% on the ball and committed to getting more social engagement. We have a lot of events and progress updates planned for the coming weeks and months. and we will do everything from our side to amplify it through our marketing channels, and we hope that the community continues to amplify it even further. So it's teamwork. Thanks, guys. So, Simon, before we get into the community questions, maybe you'll tell a little bit about your background. A lot of people know you previously worked at SAP, one of the world's largest software companies, and so what drove you to become full-time blockchain, and how do you view like traditional tech and blockchain converging, and where do you see PARSIQ in all of this?
Perfect. Sounds great. Yeah. Yeah. Just more of a background about myself. I've had various roles, most recently before PARSIQ at SAP. Before that, I worked in marketing and in sales in different consumer packaged goods companies like PepsiCo. And then I moved over to SAP. I've always loved technology my entire life, been obsessed with it. So that's what really drove me to SAP. At SAP, I was part of this global training program at the start where they bring a few hundred people from 40 plus countries down to California for 6 months for really some sales training down there. So that was a really good foundation for sales for me to learn a lot of the main skills. And then after that, I came back to Canada and focused for across North America on our customer experience products at SAP. So those are things like e-commerce software, customer data platform, which is all about collecting customer data, making really the experience for the end users, whether that's you're shopping at one of your favorite retailers, whatever it is, making that experience, your e-commerce experience, how they interact with you in terms of marketing. We sold software that helped them create those experiences essentially at the end of the day. So some of the competitors are like Salesforce and Adobe, Shopify, those types of players in the world. So these are big customers, and my role there was just to really understand their business needs and then really take our technology that we had at SAP and show them, provide demonstrations on how we could specifically solve their challenges. Just going back to Tom's question there about what brought me to the blockchain world. Last year, I got really into crypto and the blockchain space. And obviously, I had my journey of understanding what Bitcoin was at the start and getting excited about that. Then doing a bunch of research on Ethereum, and then my mind be blown even further. And then getting into all these projects and getting active in the PARSIQ community and providing a bunch of different use cases. My name on the community used to be Windy something. When I first started, when I had my anonymous name. But when I really looked at what I was doing every hour outside of work, it was researching the blockchain space, finding cool new projects, understanding the tech, understanding how early we are in adoption of blockchain technology, and getting so excited for that and seeing how, if, for example, like just take the DeFi space, right? Tom and I were just talking about this morning, it really changes the entire game of, you want to take a loan out from the bank right now, a traditional bank, you have to go and you have to get a credit score check, you have to fill out paperwork, all this. Well, in 2 seconds, you can get that, just deposit some ETH in Aave, for example, and get a loan against that. So it really is going to change the game for so many different industries. We're so early. I don't think in my lifetime there's going to be another technology shift that is going to be this big, and it's going to change so many things. How businesses are going to interact with their customers with like social tokens. Everyone's going to have a token or an NFT soon. We've already started seeing that adoption. So I really see the need that going forward, and one of the reasons why I joined PARSIQ on top of just the space is that there's going to be this Web 2 world. And those people are going to stick in that world, and you're going to have your front end on a hosting platform, right? But you're also going to want to connect into blockchain technology, and that's really where PARSIQ fits in there, and is at sort of the center point of that. And there's no real other competitor in the space that is going after such a big vision as what we're doing here at PARSIQ. So, yeah, that's why I wanted to really join the team.
Thanks, Simon. Yeah, and you're right. The space is really exciting. I mean, the disruption we're seeing, we're meeting projects every day who are building all these creative, exciting things, building blocks. So I think we will also, with PARSIQ and IQ, we're building the foundation here upon which many can build in the future. So exciting times coming up. We're just at the beginning. Let's get into the community questions. First question is, at this moment currently, how many projects are slated to launch on IQ? Also, when is the dashboard going to be released? So for the projects, I can confirm that there are like dozens of projects. I've counted over 30 projects who have, some of them have already started integration, some of them have soft committed, but the interest has been pretty huge. I wasn't expecting that. I thought maybe out of 10 projects that we've spoken to or will speak to, maybe 1-2 will be interested, but the rate of positive reaction is much higher, and that includes projects who want to use it for their own utility tokens as well as for NFTs, and that includes some non-crypto projects like software and apps who want to launch a token and tokenize their services. But maybe, I mean, Simon is actually doing most of these calls and most of the BD work, speaking to these teams. Maybe he can comment a bit more.
Totally, yeah. There, like Tom said, there's on calls all the time with potential customers, reaching out to them, talking to existing people that we've already talked to, just about IQ. And like Tom said, IQ has gotten really good reception. Like everyone that I explain it to, like I was in a community last night and was explaining a little bit there. I explain it in a similar way when I talk to customers, and I really explain it in regards to like a Netflix example, like how you could either hold, if Netflix had a token, you could either hold or rent that token to get access to Netflix as one example. But what customers really like is sort of the flexibility of the model. It's just not one set in stone, and we're learning new ways that it can be used and new use cases literally every day, every week. There's new use cases popping up, like holding or renting their native token to get access to lower fees, or to get access to gated content, or similar way to we're using it to be able to get access to more of a traditional type of service, right? Like a SaaS type subscription. So there's all of these different ways people want to use it. We've even had people, we talked to companies in the metaverse, and they basically host events for other companies in these virtual spaces that they create. So we've talked to them about, say, if PARSIQ wanted to host an event in the metaverse, we would have to hold or rent a certain amount of their tokens to invite our community into that metaverse as well. So there's all these different types of things. And one of the things that I'm most excited about is that IQ is both NFT version as well as the traditional token version. And a lot of projects that are focused on NFTs also have a token to power their model and their entire protocol, right? So we can help them out with both of them, and we've talked to some companies in that space that are NFT platforms but also have a token, and are interested in both versions as well.
Yeah, definitely. And as long as we're on the topic of use cases, so we've heard like tokenized access, subscriptions, access to software, access to content, like any kind of usage of products and services, even off-chain real world ones. We have using assets in games for play to earn, massive use cases. I mean, I've heard like I've discussed with other projects is also renting voting power, like when you rent a governance token. And another interesting one that popped up, but we haven't really decided whether we should go that route because it's tricky, is financial instruments, so like options. So for example, you rent an amount of token with a price, let's say call options, put options, and if it's on the money, you can actually buy them out. If not, then you pay the premium and they go back. they expire. So this is something interesting to consider. Financial derivatives, it's a tricky market, because of the SEC and everything that's going on with Terra and Uniswap, but it's definitely a cool use case. Any interesting or favorite use cases that you've heard?
Yeah, one of my favorite use cases so far is there's this gaming project, and they're allowing people to easily launch games in sort of this one centralized place. And it's going to be similar to, if there's any gamers out there, like Xbox Game Pass, where you can pay a fee and access all of these different games. So we've talked about a bunch of different use cases with them about holding or renting their token to not only be able to launch your game on the platform, but from also the user's perspective, holding or renting their token to get access to play all of these different games, which I think is like really, really cool. And then they're also interested in the NFT version as well, being able to take an NFT. They already have the technology to if you hold an existing NFT to wrap it, but you have to hold the NFT, wrap it, and then you're the only one that can play with it in that game. What we're going to help them with is take their technology and extend it a little bit further. So we can take their wrapped version, we can put it into the NFT version, and then from there, users will be able to actually have a marketplace and rent their NFTs out to these different people within the protocol and within the market. And those people renting them out can earn some extra interest on their idle assets, which I think is pretty cool. But there's also been other gaming projects I talked to that have some type of tournaments, right? They have tournaments, and then they want to allow you to hold or rent their token to get into the tournament, sort of as a payment. And then they have these ideas of like halftime, essentially, right? Where people, outsiders, say, I know FTX they just bought a Super Bowl ad that was announced yesterday, right? Say if advertisers wanted to advertise in the halftime show when the game has a 2-minute pause, then they could hold or rent their token to get access and advertise it in this metaverse type game. So many cool ideas, and I'm really excited for the gaming space. Like imagine, for example, the use case I always did is, say if you had like a weapon in a game and you go to bed or you go to vacation and you're not using it, why couldn't you just rent it out, right? Or maybe you're playing a different game and you stop playing that game for a bit, but you still want to hold that asset and maybe come back to it in a month. Then you can rent it out, earn some extra interest. So really, really cool.
Yeah, NFT and DeFi money Lego. Possibilities are limitless. Let's go on to the next question. Let's get this over with, just because it's my favorite one. Hey, MF, how's the listings going? Well, they're going. It's we'll get there. It's not like I said, it's not a sprint. It's a marathon. We've heard the community about listing on maybe not the biggest, but more like mid-tier exchanges as well. So we're moving there as well. Yeah, they will come. Probably when you least expect it. Hi, Simon. Which PARSIQ services would you say are most in demand by clients and or capture the most interest by prospective clients?
Yeah, that's a good question. Different clients are interested in different things. So like we just talked about, IQ is every call that we're on, they find the model interesting. We almost find a use case that they could use it in every way. But that also circulates back to our monitoring platform, right? Being able to monitor the eligibility, extremely easy for these companies. If that user that wants to get access to whatever it is, gated content, so on and so forth, if they hold or rent that token. So IQ adoption will drive more adoption for our monitoring platform as well. So that's one thing I'd say. Another thing I would say is that for PARSIQ monitoring specifically, there's been lots of new features that we launched recently. One of the favorites and has gotten really good feedback from clients is the ABI decoder that we launched over the last month, I would say. So just to explain what the ABI decoder is quickly in simple terms is you can just take the ABI of your smart contract, just that code there. And let's say it's a similar type of experience for the client as uploading a file to Google Drive, right? They just upload the ABI, will automatically detect the names of the events within that smart contract. And then that will become available for them to use in the PARSIQ programming language up front there. And they can monitor internal, external function calls, but also these smart contract events like the mint event. Say if there's a mint event in their smart contract, once the status of that event is hit, they can send a notification to their users in real time or data somewhere or alert an endpoint through a webhook, anything like that. So really like to see the reception of that, and as well, really excited for historical data that we're going to launch as well. And we've had some great calls. I was on a really exciting call yesterday in regards to combining our historical and real-time data, as this quite large project was having some challenges with some other historical data providers, and they saw how combining historical and real-time together not only could get their data faster, but it opens all of these different use cases as well in regards to real-time data. So being that one provider for both is a real differentiator.
A massive interest for data infrastructure right now because there's just so many projects building complex stuff. They need it, and yeah, a lot of existing solutions have some challenges. And hopefully, we can solve it for these projects. iPRQ is more of a non-fungible contract than token. Can this feature alone be offered as a service to other projects? I'm not sure I quite understand, but iPRQ is, you're right. It's not a token. It's an NFT that represents your shares in the pool. And we've actually, I think projects have asked whether they can use IQ protocol for standard staking, right? Where they would actually stream rewards from their treasuries or reward pools, so inflationary type, and again, the I version of the token that the staker gets would be his stake in the pool, his or her stake. Is that correct, Simon? I think we've had a couple of those.
Yeah, exactly. There's been a few customers that want to use it more than the traditional staking mechanism. So how that would work is that they would be the only renter essentially allowed in the platform, and users would just be able to basically stake their tokens, and any rewards would be streamed through as those renting fees, but only the company could stream those through. And then the users also get the benefit of like automatic compounding and streaming of the rewards as well. But yeah, the model is so flexible that a lot of companies like the flexibility if we can adapt it a little bit as well.
What's your opinion about ECOMO and VeVe NFTs? Have you guys reached out to them already for a possible partnership? Simon, have you reached out to them?
Not VeVe. I think some of our other colleagues have maybe talked to ECOMO before, but I will double check. And if we haven't yet, I'll do that today.
Yeah, and I can't recall if we reached out to these particular projects, but we've spoken to some really, really big ones recently in the NFT space, like some of the biggest ones. Hey, Tom and Simon, question that came up in the community this week. Any plans for extra confirmation to switch iPRQ to PRQ on IQ protocol for extra security? Well, this is not how it works. So the assets will have to be in the renting pool to actually have TVL and for it to work in the mechanism that Anatoly designed. So, but iPRQ is swappable back to PRQ at any point in time. So that shouldn't be an issue. Simon, one for you. Any comments on the Indian market for crypto and DeFi in general?
No specific comments on the Indian market per se. I think one company that I do follow is Galaxy Digital, and Galaxy Digital, they're a venture capital firm in the space. I think they just actually invested in, I think it's an Indian-based sort of TikTok type of competitor. I don't know if it's crypto per se, but it's more in like the metaverse and social tokens, and I think they could go there. So that's something cool. But other than that, not too much to say on that. But I love India. I actually traveled to India for 3 weeks with my wife and got to see a bunch of different places. So yeah, I love India in general.
Yeah, I think a bunch of new questions have come in that I hadn't realized. I will hold PRQ to 2025. Simon, how long are you holding yours?
Endless. We're so early in the space, and PARSIQ is, as the entire industry grows, more and more data infrastructure needs will be needed, right? So we're really at the center point, and you see some people coming from the traditional finance world that's all into crypto now. And what they're saying is that if you look at like the global monetary system, I think it's maybe $2 trillion, maybe that's bonds or equities, right? And if we're at like $2 trillion right now, or around that number in the crypto space, right? So over the next 10 years or whatever, like if we were to become the same size as the equity markets, you're looking at 100 times increase in the entire space, right? So there is the potential to once all equities and bonds and all of that starts getting tokenized, you can see the entire space grow. But that sort of goes back to what I said before, is that I think we're so early in this technology adoption that it's so exciting, and I don't think we'll see this pace of growth in my entire lifetime again. And that's one reason that I decided to join the space, and also join PARSIQ, because like we can capture all of that value. It's not just like we're another DeFi protocol trying to do some swap thing, right? There's those every week, and there's probably hundreds of those, right? We're really differentiated, and sort of why I joined PARSIQ is that you're betting on the entire space more so, and we're more like one, like there's not really other really competitors in real-time data space, but also we can help out all of those different companies as well. So you don't have to really pick the winners. We can win with all of them.
So you're like this true believer, forever with PRQ.
Diamond hands.
Simon, what are the challenges for a company like SAP to adopt crypto solutions?
Yeah, I think the challenges for them is that like big tech companies are sometimes move slow, right? They want to see the adoption of technology before that they go all into it, right? And traditionally with these big tech companies is that they have probably more research arm that are already starting to explore it. And I've reached out to some people over at SAP the other week that I know from there. But I would say that these big companies are at the stage of exploring blockchain technology. A lot of their customers right now are in the traditional more Web 2 world. But as their customers start demanding more blockchain technology or using it, they'll move slowly along the way as well. A use case that sort of comes to mind for IQ from my previous life when selling e-commerce software is, imagine you were a brand, right? And pick your favorite brand in the world. Say they had a clothing line, right? You could actually get a new revenue stream by being able to launch a token or launch an NFT. And from there, those users who hold your NFT or hold a certain amount of your tokens could get access to the new clothing line first that they launch, right? And so you can have these loyal customers, you could get feedback from them. You can get revenue by selling your NFT, for example, or renting them out, whatever way you want to do. And you could get those loyal communities and loyal fans. So I think it will come. It'll just take some more time, and yeah, they're already exploring that technology. It sounds like as well.
Yeah, it only means we're early because, as you saw, Palantir is starting to do stuff with crypto. A lot of the big players are. They're just, dipping their toes. A community question. I read somewhere that PARSIQ triggers had been used to correct the output of an already deployed and malfunctioning smart contract. Is this correct? Can you tell us more about this? Simon, do you know about this particular case? Because a lot of users and clients, they use smart triggers to monitor whether a contract runs correctly, whether there are some issues with it, and it alerts you at the earliest possible level.
Gotcha.
So really, yeah.
Yeah. No, I know where this question is going now. Yes, this is a functionality, is sort of like smart contract debugging in a certain way. When a company is testing out their smart contract, they want to know if the events are firing correctly, right? Going back to what I said earlier, like that could be a mint event, it could be a burn event, it could be some other event that they coded into their smart contract. And what the launch of the ABI decoder over the last month has allowed them to do is be able to do this super easily within a few minutes. So yeah, this is the ABI decoder is perfect for this. Basically, just upload the ABI of their smart contract. The names of those events will come up, and if they want to check if the mint or burn event is happening correctly, they can just monitor that event, get notifications in real time as well. So I hope that answered that question.
Yep, and maybe as we are preparing to move towards actions on the blockchain, reverse triggers, this can be done automatically.
Totally. That's what I'm super excited about. Like, this is sort of one of those building blocks that we're working up to that, right? Like, imagine being able to use this ABI decoder, detecting this burn event or this mint event or whatever it is, and then being like, when that event happens, then do this. I think that's going to open up a lot of opportunities as we continue to move in that direction. So I would just say this is like a building block for that.
Yeah, definitely. And these actions on the blockchain, the reverse triggers, we'll also employ them in IQ, because this is an opportunity to have recurring payments. So it's not like you rented some assets for a month to get access to something, to use some products or services, but you can actually auto-renew your rental to continue accessing this software or this service by using reverse triggers, blockchain automation. What will likely happen to PRQBoost tokens in the future when it is not needed? I cannot say yet, but we will indeed discontinue the PRQBoost program at some point. It's probably not the most effective liquidity incentivization program. We have some more interesting things in mind. So, hello, Simon. Could you categorize how PARSIQ business model is different from other competitors?
Sure. So I would say our business model is more, we traditionally focused on like the real-time data. That's what we're sort of known for, right? Streaming data in real time. And if you look at the data platform space, there's not really any competitors in streaming data. A lot of these other companies have focused on querying data or pushing data, but not really streaming it in real time. So they're more historical based, looking back in time, which is needed. But also streaming data in real time opens up a lot of different opportunities, whether that's notification, whether that's being able to react to certain things like we just talked about as we work towards reverse smart triggers, being able to detect an event in real time in order to go ahead and do this automation is super needed. So there's a need for both historical data and real-time data. And I was talking to a big project yesterday sort of about this. They use one of the other historical data providers now, having lots of challenges with it. And we told them that our approach with historical and real time, as we're about to launch historical soon, and our approach they really, really liked. But also we helped them solve that challenge. They could see us how we could solve that challenge. But also we started talking about all of these different use cases that they could enable with like streaming data, whether that's like monitoring top wallets for all these different protocols and streaming that data and sending notifications in real time. And there were some others there as well. So I would say the two work synergistically together, opens up a lot of opportunities. And what I've seen in the software space is rather than going to all of these different competitors, companies, some people like to get everything from one provider. So it just simplifies their tech stack as well.
For faster growth, do you think PARSIQ team needs option 1, more product releases, 2, manpower, 3, social outreach / marketing, or partnerships?
I'd say we're working on all of them right now. So if you look at the team, lots of people that we're onboarding, even since I joined a few months ago. And I think the team, Tom can probably speak more to this, but we've probably grown 300% or something along those lines since the start of the year. So we're a team of over 40 plus. We're constantly looking to hire more. And we're working on the manpower. We're working on social media marketing, all of that. We just grew that team. All of this is being worked on right now. Continue to focus on all of these things, and I think they all work synergistically together.
Is IQ protocol on other chains coming down the line, or is it safe to assume it will be after the airdrop and the governance token drop? So on other chains, it will be at least on one other chain already this year. And the first few projects, somewhere it will also be there. PRQ will, for the time being, stay on BSC because we don't see the need at this point to have multiple pools on different chains. So this will maybe added down the line. So and we urge all projects to choose one chain where to start, and later when everything is running smoothly, then maybe do multiple pools on the different chains. Is IQ protocol also available in other blockchains? I think I've answered this one. Several millions PRQ were unlocked recently from the development fund. Was it for any major partnership? Also, some PRQs went to minted token called PARSIQ investment certificate. What is it? So the development fund is used, among many other things, for market making liquidity, for listings, for rewards, the PRQBoost rewards, liquidity mining rewards, airdrops, and similar things. So you will definitely know what they were unlocked for. Do you have any idea on what Amazon will use PRQ for? So it's not like Amazon uses PRQ per se, but being a technology partner that means we can work together. We can get their server infrastructure at good terms, and they will help us with optimizing our technical process and connecting us to the vast Amazon partner network, so we can resell our services to the thousands of businesses running on Amazon and using the Amazon Partner Network. In addition, we'll also build a PARSIQ application and put it out on the AWS marketplace. And a few other surprises we're doing with AWS as well that you will see in due time. Since Novi has launched, any update on PARSIQ partnership with Novi? Well, obviously we cannot speak about any potential or future or speculative partnerships. With that being said, we are waiting for the Diem blockchain to launch because we do have plans to support it at some point. What plans do you have for marketing and brand recognition? It's funny how meme coins like Shib and Doge have so much hype with lousy projects. and a gem like PRQ doesn't get the recognition it deserves. Simon, thoughts?
Yeah, this is, I think, just an aspect of how early in the space we are. I think it's just the projects with a lot of fundamentals will prevail, and they will have their time as well. But I think, like I said, if we look at how small the space is compared to traditional equities or companies, like we're so early. Sometimes it's a bit irrational, I would say, with what's going on with probably Shib. But at some point, it will become irrational, and true fundamentals will prevail there. So. Just in regards to branding recognition, we all saw that Rossi was at Token 2049 recently. We got a lot of leads out of that. I'm going to be going to Lisbon soon for the Solana Breakpoint conference. We're hosting an event, a party there, and for a bunch of different projects as well that can come. So our name's going to be out there quite a bit. We're continually looking at different events to go to as well, which we think will be useful also. And we're growing the marketing team there as well. So yeah, that's what I would say about that.
Do you expect any of the new IQ pools to outpace the TVL of the PRQ pool? Or will it be a slower growth? That's a good question. We do have, not many, but we do have some projects who have a higher market cap than PARSIQ. Right? So potentially they could. But I'm really impressed at the PARSIQ renting pool TVL growth. I mean, it's almost like 50 million tokens, which are not in active circulation. I mean, if you actually add to it funds that the market makers have, which are basically loans, and some investor funds, our Series A investors some of whom have time horizons of 10 years, so they don't plan to touch it. So I'd say at least half of the circulating supply is not active. Is PARSIQ token talking to Boson Protocol? I think
yeah. I have a Telegram chat going with them.
Oh, nice. Will IQ protocol be blockchain agnostic, or will there be one IQ protocol for each blockchain? So there will be, in the sense that it's a separate protocol on each chain. Since most of these chains are EVM compatible, it's quite easy for us to move the smart contracts there, but they will be independent protocols. But of course, we will aggregate that data and we will show combined TVLs for both certain pools as well as the protocol as a whole across all chains. Chainlink just announced a partnership with AWS to allow AWS customers to use Chainlink nodes. Well, it's pretty similar to what we did. Now we allow AWS customers to use PARSIQ smart triggers. Does PARSIQ need to build reputation to see a good partnership with the big five? Oh, just wait and see. Yeah, the next few questions, like any update on NFT renting on SuperFarm? When Mysterium on IQ? It's all coming. It's all coming. So keep an eye out on the announcements. Would you guys ever consider posting a full company overview of the holders? Revenue, clients, growth. So no, we cannot actually publish all the user data or client data, but we can do a summary. We can do a summary of amount of clients, amount of revenue, growth percentages. Sure. It's a good question. Excuse my ignorance, but I've been trying to learn about this project. How would you explain it to someone who is somewhat new to the crypto world?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say that just very simple terms is that we sort of have two different worlds right now. The world that we probably all know, the world where we purchase our access websites, purchase e-commerce stuff, all of that types of things that we probably do every day. That's the Web 2 world that a lot of people are living in today. There's this other world that is currently being built, right? We're laying block by block every single day. And that's the Web3 world. You can think of these social tokens. You can think of blockchain technology. You can think of metaverse, all of these types of things. That's the Web3 world, right? And currently, and it's hard for these two worlds to communicate, whether that is getting data off the blockchain and showing it on a Web2 front end, or whether that is, just connecting these two worlds together. And that's really where PARSIQ comes in. It connects both of these worlds together, the Web 2, the Web 3 world, and brings them together and helps them communicate together. It essentially allows them to. It's like sort of adding another person to your contact list, and now you can phone them. You can actually talk to this other world, and that's sort of where PARSIQ comes in. Hope that explained that.
Kumber, good to see you too. How are you tackling the challenge of conveying both PARSIQ and blockchain to traditional companies? What's your ammo bag like?
I think with traditional companies, like they're just starting to explore it, and we started seeing some of that, like Visa announcing that they want to work on layer 2 ETH technology and sort of be like a hub for that. And I think what we'll see is that there's going to be some type of adoption. Right now, a lot of them are still in the exploratory phase, but they're going to keep exploring a little bit more and move down the lines there. I've reached out to some big companies, and I've gotten some responses that say, "Hey, this is really interesting. We understand what you do. We'll keep this in mind. We're currently researching, exploring. There may be something that we need this few months down the line or over the next year when we get to that more so." But those are the types of response that I receive from more of these traditional big companies. So I would say that the industry's early. They're going to move over. They're going to want a piece of the pie of the Web3 world, right, to continue to grow their revenue. And they're going to try to move towards where their current users go. So I would say that it'll take some time, but eventually it will come.
Yeah, definitely. And when I've had some calls with this big traditional giants, these multi-billion-dollar companies, I've mostly spoken to those who have dipped their toes in blockchain a little bit as like a proof of concept, or just so I took whatever engagement they had with the blockchain, whether it's a small investment in a blockchain company or a small app they created, that's somehow, connected to blockchain. And I just shown like, hey, so if you had PARSIQ, this is how easy it would have been. Like, and everyone understands. They're just not ready to go like full tilt yet. So the adoption will come. It's a matter of time. Hi, Tom. I'm concerned that focus will be pulled away from the PRQ token with the introduction of the IQ token. Will IQ token detract from PRQ token and project? I will only hold PRQ, not IQ. Well, I'm not concerned about this. I mean, they are different projects, completely different in their nature. I mean, PARSIQ, for the most part, it's an infrastructure project, right? And IQ is pure DeFi. And IQ is completely decentralized, open sourced, completely public, that anyone can. And PARSIQ is partially centralized and partially proprietary, and very very developer specific, very specific to enterprises and B2B, while IQ has a lot of, let's say, DeFi retail engagement as well. So I think they're completely different projects for completely different. If people see the value accrual mechanisms, they are also will be completely different. So I don't think they will compete in any way.
Yeah, just to add on top of that, you can say, like, as IQ continues to gain adoption, you need to monitor the eligibility for if that user holds or rent the tokens, right? So as IQ adoption increases, and that's sort of the first in the industry, and a lot of people are interested in that, you also see the need for monitoring services and PRQ to increase as well.
Yeah, exactly. So every IQ enterprise will also use the PARSIQ platform. So the relationship is synergetic. Have you reached out to IOTA? They are a DAG rather than a blockchain, but they're focused on data streams and could benefit from PARSIQ. Yeah, we haven't. I don't think we have, at least. And we can integrate a DAG, add support for monitoring a DAG, but it's a matter of prioritization. I mean, we already have so many blockchain integrations in the pipeline, so we'll get to it at some point. But we've decided that a few other layer 1 networks, layer 2 networks deserve our attention faster. Will there be some tool that allows users, companies to audit their triggering computation in the past? So I think you mean the retrospective smart triggers, which can go back to any block, and you can specify any contract that you want to, and you can replay it, recalculate it from one block to another. So yeah, this is pretty much ready for rollout. It's going to be a great tool to calculate all kinds of stuff, across the blockchain. How does SupraOracles monetize their partnership with PARSIQ? Do they get paid in PRQ tokens based on the usage of their data by PARSIQ service? So no, currently we are not paying them anything. It's more of a proof of concept. They are just rolling out their test net. So first, there won't be any payment involved. We will actually try out the integration, which works for both sides. So SupraOracles can give their Oracle data to our smart triggers, and our smart triggers can provide blockchain data or let's say a combination of on-chain and off-chain data to their Oracle. So be a data provider. It's like a mutually beneficial thing. Oh, I think I've... So. How many PRQ from the dev fund? So if you mean the team advisory fund, I think it holds around 23 million PRQ tokens right now. And not all of them, definitely not all of them are allocated, but actually reserved for future team members and future advisors. On Twitter, you hinted some news related to Sol was coming. Can you confirm this? So you want me to confirm that announcement will be made in the future? I can't confirm that. Is there any potential partnership that you can't speak about with Bakkt and Palantir? Well, I think this question answers itself. Can we expect the second pool in Q4? So if you mean the second enterprise after PARSIQ will deploy a pool, the answer is yes, at least a second pool. Hi Dweep, very insightful session. All the best, Simon, for the Solana conference.
Thank you.
Yeah. So the issue is I broke a bone in my leg, so I don't know if I can actually go. It depends. I'm in a cast with crutches, so sorry about this AMA. I'm not in my best shape. Whether they can take the cast off before the conference or no, I don't know yet. So maybe I'll make it. Maybe I won't. But if I won't, then maybe Simon or Anatoly can do the speech for me and attend all the meetings that I've set up and all the people that I've invited. Will be interesting. On IQ Space Staking, it says this project is in beta. Use at your own risk. Can you educate us what risk there is? Is loss of tokens something to be taken into account? So really the risk is as with any DeFi protocol, like using Uniswap. I mean, Solana, the whole Solana blockchain is also in beta. And there are like hundreds of apps and DeFi protocols there. So the word beta, don't read much into it. But use at your own risk, it's a staple for any DeFi project. And in our case, smart contracts have been audited, and they have been built by engineers who were at previously at BlockViz, and which is a blockchain audit company, and they do meticulous work. So I don't believe there are any problems, and even if there are, we have some governance mechanisms in place to mitigate such attempts. Why can't PARSIQ do a POC for car bike renting using PRQ pool? If one hodls PRQ, they can drive a bike for X days. What is the challenge? Well, I'm not sure if PRQ is the right token to do it with. Yeah, there should be a different token, like a bike token, and a different pool created for this. And I mean, right now it's probably challenging to do this for real world items and property, but this is where I see it going. Like if tokenization takes over, why not, rent property, real estate, through IQ contracts. So if an NFT can represent this unique piece of property, then why not? You can rent it for a day, for a month. This is where the industry will go.
Yeah, just going off that, we had some talks internally about like we're just brainstorming use cases, and like let's say Airbnb, every property was represented by an NFT, right? And it was the total value of that property. And I, as a user, when I book my trip and I want to stay at an Airbnb, I rent this NFT, right? And then you could even build something into the application where that NFT unlocks a smart lock at the door that gives you access to the Airbnb, right? Like that's where all of this could eventually go as things get tokenized, and that's sort of just a fun thing we were brainstorming off the renting of real world assets.
Will there be a pre-sale or airdrop for IQ token launch? Well, obviously we've announced the airdrop for early adopters and early stakers, so there will be an airdrop. And yes, likely there will be a small pre-sale. But more details on this probably after New Year's. Are there any plans to work with hardware wallet companies? Trezor, for example. We work with BC Vault already, and we actually provide their users like push notifications, so your hardware wallet can be at your home, and if someone sent you money, and also additional data about those funds. And we've talked to Trezor as well. It's just not that high in our priority list right now. How much TVL do you expect Q2 next year? I can't predict, but definitely up. Is nCase on the backlog now? Yes, it's in the backlog. Obviously, we've pushed it in favor of expanding the monitoring platform with the SDK, with the developer hub, with the historical triggers, with the public marketplace, and for IQ. But we're using pieces of the nCase technology for a lot of things right now. So we will get to it. PARSIQ is facing huge volatility in the price due to the low liquidity. How the team will deal with this? So for DEXs, I've actually found a great solution, which will allow us to have any depth of liquidity across all DEXs. So I'm looking forward to implementing it within the next couple of months. So yeah, I think we're out of time. I have my next call in 2 minutes. I don't know, Simon, do you want to take the last one?
Sure. This goes sort of back to a call I had yesterday. It was with a top 25 project, and they were having challenges with the graph, right? Every time they had to make a change to their logic, the graph they had to re-index everything, and that took a week to 2 weeks to get the most up-to-date data, right? We have a real different approach where if you change your logic, you don't have to re-index everything. And we also have real-time data, which can continue to update that data, but also open up these different use cases. I was talking to them about being able to send notifications to their users, alerting their team, and just being able to aggregate this data in a way to update different graphs and visuals on their front end potentially. So they were having trouble with the graph. I've talked to other teams as we started exploring this historical data and coming closer to launching of that. They've shared similar sentiment, and other very large projects have reached out to us, sort of expressing the same challenge with the graph as well.
Yeah, just to clarify, I mean, we do think Graph is a great project, and I mean, they've gotten very big. They have a lot of developers in their community, so they're very successful in a sense. Yeah, we wish them all the best. I just think that the Graph and PARSIQ, they cover different use cases, right? So the Graph is trying to be a network, and PARSIQ is can be a solution, direct, like full-fledged solution to solve some of the problems that the graph doesn't cover. So I wouldn't even say there is overlap, but we're indirect competitors. I'd rather see us working together with the graph. I think there are some interesting points of collaboration here. Yeah, I think we're out of time here. It was a long AMA and questions keep coming, but see, maybe Simon can pop in one day and then answer some more of those.
Perfect. Sounds great. Well, thanks everyone. It was nice answering some questions for everyone.
Yeah, thanks for the great questions and the great AMA, and speak to you soon. The next one will be in 2 weeks. Goodbye, everyone.
Sounds great. Bye, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.